Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the I AFYL Podcast. And today, here's what we're talking about: how to expose the power you already possess. And today, we're going to look at something. Here's the question I want to give you: where does power come from? I want you to think about where power comes from. We're going to talk about, and we're going to just look at it metaphorically. We're going to look at it literally. And then we're going to also look at how we can expose the power think about the exposure that you already possess. So let's jump right in this. So I was on a call yesterday, a Zoom call yesterday, and they call them inner healing sessions. Have you ever had one of those, an inner healing session? Inner healing is basically where, you're going to talk to someone who's well versed in understanding how to help me expose things that may be on the inside, bring it on the outside, so that we can get through different things in our life. So I'm on an inner healing session, and I've gone through this before. I've only done one before, but over the past few years, God's been healing me. Have you ever thought about, it's one of these things where if you don't have access to something, that doesn't mean you can't get it. And so God exposed me. God started to heal me from the inside years ago. And when I initially got on the inner healing session, it was almost like, wow, it's interesting, because some of the pain and hurt that I had experienced before, God had already released me from that, but still working on different things. So I'm on a session, and, it's a great session. And at the end, I think I got a powerful homework assignment. And that's what brought on this idea today. And so I want you to think about yourself, and I want you to think about power. What power do you possess? What power do you possess? Do you have power? Now, in the word, which, man, it's great to study. It's great to study the word of God. It's a blueprint. It's instructions for us. And so Deuteronomy is a great book, but all the books are connected. So Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, all those books are connected. So those books are all literally connected to each other. Deuteronomy, in chapter 8, the whole chapter is just full of some gems, and it's just kind of giving us some admonishment. And then it gives us this statement where God just wants to remind you and I where power comes from. He's like, it is I who gives you the power, and who gave you the power to create. Let's first use the word create. Said wealth, but wealth came after create. See, because God's creative. Now in Genesis, God exposes himself. God exposes his own power. What power did he expose? He didn't expose everything, but he exposed a specific power to us, which was, in the beginning, God created. Look at that. So he says, I've given you the power to create, in Deuteronomy 8:18. And in the beginning, the first statement that is made, it says, in the beginning, God created. So first, where does power come from? It comes from the Lord. It comes from the Lord. Guys, I want you to think about this. I remember when I was learning some of these understandings, and I was, and Bob Proctor, he's, God rest the soul of Bob Proctor, who's helped millions of people in his lifetime. See, here's the thing. God is so good, because God's main message to us is to leave people better off. And Bob Proctor left me better off. So Bob, he had great teachings. And one of the teachings he talked about energy. He talked about how energy is everywhere at the same time. Like there's no less of an energy here in Maryland where I'm living in Indian Head, right? There's no less energy than it is in Russia where I've never been. It's the same amount of energy. It's always there. The wind blows here and the wind blows there. It's evenly distributed everywhere. So God is evenly distributed the energy to create everywhere. It's evenly. See, if we continue to watch the news, which I don't watch the news, and sometimes I hate going to the gym because they always got the news on. But I don't watch the news because the news and just media in general is not going to help you to expose your power. It's not going to do it. It's actually going to continue to suffocate the power that's within you. So how will you expose this power? How do you expose this power that you have? Even if it's like, well, but I can't do something. Well, that's the first problem. You never start with an I can't. It's nothing like a person starting with I can't. See, because when you start with I can't, or when you start with, man, I don't have something, then what happens is that's the experience you have to live. So never start a conversation, never start if you're trying to build yourself up, never start with what you can't do. Start with what I can do. Now, here's how you expose this power. How do you expose the power? Here's how you expose it. You expose the power through the statements that you make about yourself as, well, I am, right? Because that's God's name. I am. So when you use God's name first, I am, whatever comes after that is what's going to actually start igniting your power. See, because if you start saying, well, I cannot, I am not, then when you do that, it doesn't matter. You can never use I am not. You can never use anything in the negative when you're talking about yourself. So if you want to expose the power, guys, this is so simple. You expose your power by simply always using I am. And then you can even just say powerful. I am creative. I am rich. Now here's the thing, guys. I don't want you to get this mixed up. This won't work for you or me if you don't really believe it. If you don't really believe it, it's not going to work. So how do you build your faith? So this whole powerful thing, it all goes with faith, because that means that if you say I am rich, if you say I am wealthy, if you say I am creative, then that means you had to create something. That means you actually got to be moving towards wealth. You got to be moving towards riches. You have to be moving towards, if you say I am powerful physically, like I'm in the gym. That's all. The only thing I said while I was at the gym to myself the whole time, I am powerful. You are powerful. You are strong. I am strong. You are strong. I am strong. You are strong. That's all I said the whole time. And I'm just banging it out. Like I'm getting one of the best sweats because of how strong I am. Like I'm literally getting stronger just sitting here in my chair. Like when I go back to the gym tomorrow, I'll probably lift heavier weights because I am so strong and powerful that whatever weight I started to push, that means that I can push it. See, here's the thing. You and I have to, guys. I mean, belief is so interesting, man. One mentor said this. He says, fear and faith are both belief. Fear and faith are both belief. I'm going to say it again. Fear and faith are both belief. And if fear and faith are both belief, here's one of my last questions for you. Are you going to fear or are you going to have faith? See, because if you fear and you follow the things that fear does, then that's what you'll have. But if you move in faith and you realize that I can expose the power I already possess just by coming into the thought, just by saying. Now, here's the thing. Thinking is great because you can think and grow rich. Your thinking produces what comes out of your mouth. But here's the thing. Your hearing produces really what happens. So you should say whatever it is that you desire about yourself, whatever you would like to believe about yourself, you say it. I am rich, so that your ears can hear it. You even should say you are rich. You are powerful. Now you're speaking in a different tone. So you want to get it from both sides. Like it's like using, like if God said you are rich, God would say, Jay, you are rich. Japheth, you're rich. You are rich. You are wealthy. You are exceedingly and abundantly more rich than you could ever imagine. That's what God would say. Then you can say, I am exceedingly and abundantly rich, more than I can ever imagine. So when you play both sides of this thing now, you can expose power, even though you may not, like I may not physically be able to push 300 pounds right now. It's a lot of weight. All I have to start doing, I am physically able to press 300 pounds. You are physically able to press 300 pounds. And the exposure will happen as a result of the actions that take place. But your ears heard it. And then your ears start sending a signal into your mind that says, well, it's time to get going. It's time to move. So guys, if you want to expose the power you already possess, here's what you'll do. You'll say, you'll use you are, and you'll use I am. You are and I am. You are is like God saying it, and then I am is you saying it. And then you put all the things behind the you ares in the I ams that comes with it. Listen, in 2023, if you did this from today in the whole year, what's going to happen for your life? Tell me what's going to happen for life. If you, every day, you are, I am, whatever the things are, let's see what happens for your life. God bless you guys. I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.